It's more than just your output, more than a bike. When you hear your shout out, you know it's all right. Put on your magic pants and let's go. We're cruising into the power zone. Clip in, set yourself free. Come on and take a ride with me. Know what you need to know and what's it all about. Everything you need, it's on the Clip Out.
Welcome to the Clip Out Podcast, episode 395. This is Crystal O'Keefe.
And this is Tom O'Keefe.
We're getting awfully close to 400.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna do something?
No.
No. We talked about that a while back.
Yeah,
that sounds like more work.
Yeah.
I think I'm good.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it is a jam-packed week.
It is. Yeah.
Crazy with all the stuff.
It's going to be a long episode. It's going to be a long bonus. Just hope that you like when we talk. I hope that's why you're here.
Well, I mean, it is a podcast.
I know.
So
There's a lot.
So who is our guest this week?
Our guest is Annie Smith. She also goes by Ann Smith, and she considers herself Peloton newbie, even though she's been around for a few years, hangs out a lot there, loves Leanne, and she's just a wonderful lady who has a lot of Peloton passion, and she's just a joy to talk to. So
For sure.
Very fun interview.
Absolutely. And what, pray tell, do you have in store for people? Because it's a lot.
It is a lot. Okay. Well, the biggest thing that I think we need to talk about, and so I want to make sure I mention it at the top, is the Peloton is donating clothing to people that are affected by the LA fires, but also Peloton Apparel, the buy-sell trade group. So that's run by community members. Mm-hmm. They are holding a clothing drive in the group, and it's an amazing effort they are putting together. So I want to make sure people know at the beginning of the show, we're going to be giving all the details about that.
Okay.
Also, there's a lot of things that Peloton's just kind of throwing out all of a sudden, like the custom volume mixing is back. They have a new field testing opportunity. Karen Boone, that was on the board. Well, she's still on the board, but now she has a new official job. And there's also a bunch of stuff going on with LA Fitness and Peloton equipment they are featuring. Peloton has some new sales that apparently are better than Black Friday sales, and they have some sales on their app membership. One of the interesting things that came up this week was about music and Peloton paying artist fees, how they pay compared to how other industries pay, like on Spotify. And then there's also Guardian Life has a new partnership with Peloton we're going to talk about. We get a visit from Dr. Jenn, and we talk about how to navigate the election results and people's varying responses to that, which seems timely.
Yes.
Considering that inauguration is next week.
Correct.
And then there's a bunch of in the news for instructors. And there's also competitor info. We've got a new artist series to talk about. We've got a past guest update, content to discuss. I mean, it's a lot.
Awesome. Well, over on the Patreon, we're going to be talking about how much does your Peloton really know about you?
Yes, we are.
We're going to talk about Gym Rats Hate in January. We're going to talk about lifespan versus health span.
Ooh.
We'll also give you all the other podcasts that you can find the instructors on, their appearances, partnerships, things like that. So, but before we get to all that, shameless plugs, don't forget we're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, TuneIn, wherever you find a podcast, you can find us while you are there. Be sure and follow us so you never miss an episode. Maybe leave us a review. That is super helpful and greatly appreciated.
Always.
Yeah. You can check us out on Patreon if you're so interested. This is probably a good week to give it a...
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be a lot.
It is going to be
It's going to be a lot. What that entails is you give us $5 a month, and in return, you get ad-free episodes of the main episode. You get bonus content. So every week we record an extra 15, 20, 30 minutes. Lately, they've been 30.
Yes, they have.
This week will probably be that. Of just extra content, stuff we didn't have time to get to in the show because they just get so long. If we get them early, you get them early. So typically, you're getting them on Thursday, a lot of time Thursday morning-ish. And also our undying love and gratitude.
It's true.
Yeah. And it's just a great, relatively inexpensive way to help out the show. And it is super appreciated.
It
so
is.
You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/theclipout. While you're there, like the page, join the group. Don't forget our newsletter that you can sign up for at theclipout.com, where we will email you every week, mostly, the links and stuff that we talk about. Just a little reminder that we exist. And of course, you can watch all of these over on YouTube at youtube.com/theclipout. So there's all that. Let's dig in, shall we?
We shall.
Peloton in the news.
So as the fires ravage Los Angeles,
Crazy town.
people in the world of Peloton want to know what Peloton might be doing to assist. Not assist the fires. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
That's more echelon speed.
That definitely would be crazy.
But to assist the people who have been damaged by said fires.
And so many people affected.
Yeah.
So Peloton released a statement on their Instagram stories the other day saying that their heart goes out to all those impacted by the devastating fires in Los Angeles. It says most immediately they are working continuously to ensure the safety and well-being of our LA-based Peloton team members. And they're grateful to our global security team for acting swiftly and ensuring ongoing support. To assist the broader LA community affected by the fires, we're donating Peloton clothing to 7 local relief organizations who are working hard on the ground. And through our internal volunteer and corporate match program, we are matching Peloton team member donations dollar for dollar. So Peloton is trying to assist, the most immediate needs is what they're trying to focus on right now. So just to repeat here, it's called the Peloton Apparel Buy, Sell, Trade Group. The reason I want to make sure that people know that is so you can search for the group. Well, I guess the entire group is actually called Peloton Boutique Buy, Sell, Trade. The reason I want to draw your attention to that is that's going to be where you go for what I'm about to tell you. What is happening is that a couple of ladies, Heidi Gilpin-Neff is one of the people running this, but also she's getting some help from Michelle Brookman, who lives out in LA.
Right.
And both of them are longtime members. Michelle is like OG status, like
right.
She's been around forever. She's assisted a lot of efforts like this. People might remember her from us talking about Pedal on the Pier. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I digress. The point is, these ladies are putting together kind of a post. It's going to be a trade system so that people in need can go into the group and say, I need XYZ. And then Peloton members can then be like, I have this, I will send it to you. And then you can send and know that your gift, your donation is going straight to the person that you're trying to help.
Gotcha.
They're working through logistics right now because the people who are in need are often displaced at this point
right.
for obvious reasons.
Where do you send it?
Right.
Yeah.
And so that is something that they're working through, and they want to make sure that they're protecting everybody's data here.
Right.
So they're trying to find the best way to do it. So again, Peloton Boutique Buy, Sell, Trade Group. We will have the link to that in our newsletter. We will also have the note for that in our show notes as well and on our website. So it's going to be in all those places. Just want to make sure that people are able to go and help out. It's a really awesome thing. And it's very much the community that we've seen throughout the history of Peloton.
Right.
That's what's coming together right now. And, these people want to help in any way they can. I know that there are so many organizations, so many people that are just sitting here like, I don't know how to help. I mean, it's hard to know when you're halfway across the country, all the way across the country, in what way you can help. So if you are one of those people, this is something very direct and very impactful to a person that needs it. And I know it's just exercise clothes, right? I know that. But if you've lost everything, having somebody gift you something that's so important to you. I mean, I know when I got hit by the car and I had my Do Epic Shit shirt on and it got destroyed. The person who replaced that to me, like they will never know how much that meant to me.
Yeah.
And so I realize that it's, there are more pressing concerns.
For sure.
And we respect that. But this is a small thing we can all do that if you would like to, you're welcome to.
And later in the show, we will talk about how Tonal is addressing it. We don't want to talk about it here just because we know people sometimes only half listen.
Right.
We don't want people to confuse what Peloton is doing with what Tonal is doing.
And what Peloton community members are doing.
Correct. So we will talk about that later. Moving into non-biblical tragedy status events. The custom volume mix
is back.
Is back.
It is. So now you can once again go in and turn the instructor all the way up and the music all the way down. So you are able to listen to whatever music you want, or
Vice versa.
You can turn the instructor all the way down, turn the music all the way up. That's why it's custom.
Yeah. Or maybe you just think it's just not quite right to your ear.
You just want to tweak it a
You
little.
just want to tweak the balance.
That's okay too.
It is there for you.
We're glad to see it back.
Peloton has a field testing opportunity for people.
They do. So you had to be invited to this. So no, I don't have a way to get you invited to it. But if you were already in their field test list, there's a great chance that you were invited to this. They've been doing versions of this for a while, but right now what's happening is it's going to be specifically on the Bike Plus, and they're calling it an experience that is designed to enhance your training by providing a dynamic virtual environment that aims to improve your cycling performance and keep you engaged. Again, that's Bike Plus only.
Any idea what that means in people?
I think it's like not lane break, but like gamified virtual environment is how I hear that. Now, also could be VR. Don't know. I see nothing to indicate that it's VR,
Yeah.
so I don't want to get people excited because it's not like you also need this kind of headset or
Right.
anything like that. I see nothing to indicate that. But when they say virtual environment, I think gaming for the most part.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I was thinking VR as well, but I'm like, but so few people have that equipment.
And it doesn't call out that you need
You would
it.
think that they would say, but you're going to need this, because I can't imagine them sending it to you.
No.
Yeah.
Peloton's never done that kind of field testing.
Yeah.
Like when they do that kind of field testing, it was like for the row, and they sent you the row.
Right.
They're not going to, that's not what this is. But again, it is only for the Bike Plus. I found that interesting because we will talk about later about the sale they are having on the Bike Plus, or the regular bike, excuse me. So
We
maybe
will connect some dots then.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Karen Boone, former interim co-CEO.
Yes.
That's a mouthful.
It is
now going to be on the independent board for CoreWeave.
Yes. And this isn't like a huge story. I just thought it was notable given that she went from being quote unquote just a board director to interim CEO,
Right.
co-CEO, to back to a board member, and then instantly now a board director of CoreWeave. I just thought it was fascinating.
Yeah.
She's on several other boards as
Right.
well. And she has a long, history doing lots of important things at places like Deloitte. And that's a public accounting firm for people who don't know.
I didn't.
And that's like whenever you want to be like a CPA,
Right.
and you want to like go into that kind of like taxes, that would be a great place to intern and go right after college. Like,
Gotcha.
that would be a place
It's the
you'd be.
gold standard.
I don't know if it's gold standard, but it's a great
Goldman
place.
Sachs standard. Until they, destroy the economy.
Yeah.
But
None of them are gold standards, if you ask me.
except for the economy destruction part, they're a big deal. And people should know, in case they're not familiar with CoreWeave, AI.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry.
LA Fitness, I don't know if this is all of them or select ones or a rollout, but they are adding Peloton equipment.
Well, I feel like they might have even had Peloton equipment, but like this is like a whole Peloton room.
Yeah, it's like an area completely dedicated to Peloton. It doesn't it's not just they got a few bikes in the mix. It's like a whole,
It's a room.
so yeah, it's a whole area.
And it's like branded. And so, the person who brought this to me, kind of raised the question. And I think it's a good question. Like, is this a partnership?
Right.
Or is this just quote unquote some company going through a Peloton commercial, because that's what it's there for.
Right.
I don't know the answer to that, but I'd love to know.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting. Thought we should share.
It's a fascinating way to try and maybe get some of those people who
Or on the fence.
yeah, or like they still want to go to the gym, but they see the appeal of Peloton, and they can have a foot in both worlds.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. Also, though, it would mean that you would have like 2 memberships, right? Like,
Yeah, potentially.
but then it makes you wonder if maybe at some point you'll see an LA Fitness membership where you check a box and they bundle a Peloton subscription with it.
All kinds of questions and
Yeah.
zero answers.
Peloton is currently having a sale on the bike.
Yes.
That is apparently better than their Black Friday deal.
I mean, that's what all the articles are saying. I honestly didn't pay that much attention during
Right.
Black Friday, but $300 off. And you also get a month free membership. So it's certainly a great deal. Like
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it. But again, this is only on the bike. And I thought it was interesting because, you know, it's being pushed as like it's the new year, resolutions, and that's a great time. And maybe that's all this is.
Sure.
Like, let me clearly state that.
You didn't get it for Christmas. Here's your chance.
Yeah. And that is smart because we all know that this is kind of the fallow period. We have now started to go into what is the slowest period for Peloton,
Right.
like that time of year, cyclically speaking. So that makes sense. But it's kind of weird to me because like I don't see these sales on all the other equipment.
Right.
And then I'm just like, are we phasing this out?
Right.
Because I can't help but look over at Tonal, who just had these major sales
Major sales on tonal machines
and then dropped a brand new one.
and then put out a new tonal.
And they're still selling the Tonal one.
Yeah.
So like no shade at Tonal at all.
But it sure seems like
A very similar drive
the
here.
original tonal is being sunsetted.
Right. So interesting. If that is true, does that mean the long fabled Bike 3.0 is soon to arrive? Because that version is also rumored. I mean, pretty much we know.
Right.
It's going to have the ability to have the guide on it. So putting all this together, we've got the potential Bike 3.0.
Right.
We've got the potential to put the guide on the 3.0. We have the Strength Plus app they just released that you can't use the guide for. I'm just saying, maybe this is a moment it's all coming together.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
But Bike Plus becomes Bike Regular. Bike 3 becomes Bike Plus. Bike Old becomes
Gone.
Bike Divided.
I just thought it would be gone.
Oh, okay. Bike Divided by 0.
Like they'll still service it and stuff. I'm not saying it will
Right.
be obsolete because people get that
Right.
twisted in their head. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying maybe we won't see sales of that anymore. I don't know. It's just interesting timing. That's all I'm saying.
That it is. While we're speaking of sales, there's also limited time deals on app memberships.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting as well. So with the app memberships, they have it like the Peloton App 1 is normally $12.99 a month, but for right now, you can get it for $2.49 a month for 2 months.
Okay.
So it's not quite free,
Right.
but it's pretty darn
But
close.
pretty inexpensive.
But then the Peloton App Plus, which is normally $24 a month
Okay.
and includes access to Strength Plus,
Okay.
by the way, that's $5 a month for 2 months. Interesting.
Yeah.
Also, no sale on Peloton Strength Plus. Not crazy, just came out.
Right.
It's still $9.99 a month, and you do get a 14-day free trial. I just am fascinated by what they are choosing to put on sale and when.
Yeah.
It's like I had finally figured out what the heck Barry was doing with his A/B tests.
Right.
Now I got to learn all over again.
For sure. Curse you, Peter Stern.
Also, hello, Mr. Stern, you should totally come on our podcast. We would love to chat with you.
We'll talk about A/B testing.
Yeah.
So a website called Digital Music News has an interesting article about how Peloton pays artists versus how Spotify pays artists.
Yeah. Now they are talking about this person that discovered this is saying that he is an indie artist. I say that because I feel like there could be vastly different deals for
Sure.
the high paying artists.
That
Like,
stands to reason.
yes. But they are saying that a DSP, which is a payout per stream, digital service provider pays out per stream, that for several years, Peloton's estimated per stream royalty rate was 3.1 cents, which far surpasses the fractions of a penny
Yeah.
paid out by Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, and Tidal. Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Spotify is the lowest of all of them.
And wasn't it recently that you were just telling me about how, like, over on Spotify, there's this whole other layer of weirdness, like that they have all this music that's not music that anybody would actually listen to?
Yes. So, and I think that's part of what's at play
That's
here.
what I'm wondering.
So this guy, so this indie artist, the song in question he wrote that was being used was called, it was played on a Halloween stream.
Okay, so that's like their playlist that that Spotify makes, and it's like a bunch of different just music that's Halloweeny.
First off, you said weenie.
Okay, well I said Halloweeny,
but you still said weenie.
Okay,
so it was for one song called Dark Crystal, created under the artist aka Happy Halloween Music, right? So it was featured on a Halloween themed Peloton cycling class playlist, which also included tracks like I Put a Spell on You from the Beetlejuice soundtrack.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think it was, there's no words from the way I'm reading this. It's just kind of mood music.
Yeah, that's
right?
how I'm hearing it too.
So he said during that time period, he made zero money on Spotify because they won't pay you unless a song gets more than 1,000 spins in a year.
Okay.
So if it doesn't hit that, they won't pay you. So, and I think part of the reason his song isn't getting the plays on Spotify is that Spotify has started on these playlists that are like mood driven, like lo-fi hip hop beats and like
beats to study to.
Yes, lo-fi hip hop beats to sleep/study to.
Yeah,
or
that's totally my jam when I'm listening.
Yeah, or like, jazz instrumental or piano. Like, if you ever look at those lists and you're like, who are these people? How do they make a living? Does anybody really go out and buy these CDs? A lot of these people, they don't exist. They're not real. And Spotify contracts to have these songs produced because they know that you're not listening for a song like you would for Beyonce or the Beatles. You're listening because you just want something on in the background. Well, they don't want to pay royalties for that. So they give these people a few $100s to create these songs, and then they curate these playlists full of those songs. So in the past, someone like this guy would have created a song that would have ended up on one of those playlists, and then Spotify would push it out, and this guy would make a bunch of money based on the royalties because he ended up on a Spotify playlist. Well, Spotify, they don't even want to spend fractions of a penny on these things.
It's too much.
So they just give somebody a few $100s
and they're done.
And then they own the copyright, and then they create all these playlists. So a lot of the Spotify playlists that you listen to for mood purposes, just background noise, like they're full of Spotify purchased songs that they don't have to pay anyone for. So that is why I think he made infinitely more money from Peloton than he did for Spotify, which is great for him, but it's also kind of like Peloton has a lot fewer opportunities to use songs like this. And so the music gods smiled upon him and he ended up on a Peloton playlist. Good for him. That's not an option very many people will have. So
I get that. And
I would love to know how they found his stuff.
Yeah, me too. Well, the Peloton instructors, they have a database that is somehow linked to Spotify, but it's not all the music on Spotify.
Right.
It's somehow driven by all those licensing deals that they have. And so when the instructors go in, because it's proprietary software, they go in and they choose their music, but it's like this back end, information coming in from Spotify. So Spotify is somehow feeding it, but also there's a whole bunch of licensing agreements that say what's turned on, what's turned off. So somehow they were able to do, he ended up on a list that they could choose from.
Gotcha. And my guess is based on what this is and how much he made, he got like $1,000 for the month, is my gut tells me it was a lane break.
Oh, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, and I just wanted to also say, I had said it was like 3 cents per play back in 2021. This gentleman made 4 cents per play,
right?
And that's a lot higher than what they had back in 2021. So this is now the newest rate that we have that Peloton is paying. I just think that is worthwhile information.
Yeah, it is fascinating. People are always interested in how the music works on Peloton, and as a music guy, I find it fascinating.
It is very complex.
Very. If you are a Guardian Life employee, you now get access to the Peloton app.
Yes, and wellness articles through Guardian Well. That started in January, and members that have approved long-term disability claims will also receive a 6-month Peloton App One membership that supports their recovery with classes that are focused on stretching, meditation, and strength. I think that is super cool. I really do.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming up after this, we're going to talk to Dr. Jenn. The inauguration is upon us. Maybe you love it, maybe you hate it. She's going to give you some tips on how to navigate it, regardless of where you stand. So stick around.
Getting the psychological edge with Dr. Jenn.
Joining us once again via the magic of ZoomTube is Dr. Jenn Mann, licensed marriage, family, and child therapist and sports psychology consultant. She was a 5-year national team member in rhythmic gymnastics and sports psychology for USA Gymnastics. It's Dr. Jenn. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, it's time for the election question. I'm going to word it a little bit differently than what it's worded here, but I know what the gist is, and that's what I know you'll speak to. Paul Erickson wants to know how people should navigate all of the anger and frustration, and also just the grief that comes along with, like, you thought one thing might happen and then another thing happened. Like, how do you do all this and, like, not hurt people around you physically, mentally?
Yeah. Look, I am hearing this question in a lot of different shapes and forms a lot. And I think that it's important to keep a few things in mind. One is that if the election didn't go the way you hoped it to go, there's a lot of catastrophizing. There's a lot of people who are kind of going to the worst possible case scenario. And in life, and I don't just mean in politics, but in our lives, I'm a big believer, and I say this to my clients a lot and to various family members, try not to live in a future that hasn't happened yet and may not even happen. And I think that when you catastrophize and you live in the worst case scenario, it creates enormous anxiety for you. It creates a lot of anger. It creates a lot of fear, and it prevents you from thinking clearly when it comes to what can you do that might feel productive to help move forward things that are really important to you. How can you advocate for the causes that are important to you? And I think it's important to keep in mind that our country's been around for a long time. We've had a lot of ups and downs, and that we will survive any president, any candidate, any one person we will continue to. And I think that making sure that you take care of your own mental health and that you are mindful of who you have conversations with and that you are open-minded. Look, I am a big believer in no matter what your political ideology is, you should be hearing from both sides of the aisle. You should be understanding better what people who feel differently about the causes, the issues, the policies, the politics than you do, why they feel that way, and to try to be open-minded. And so I think that this is an opportunity to do that and to also figure out how you can use that fear, anger, and frustration to do things that are positive, to stand up for causes that you believe in, to advocate for people and places and things that are important to you so that you can feel productive and not get stuck. Because it's very easy to get stuck in hurt and anger and fear and catastrophizing. And that is not that's not in your best interest.
How do you then handle, the holidays are coming up. There's going to be a lot of family interactions. There's going to be a lot of people disagreeing over the dinner table. What do you do? Yeah. Do you just I don't want to talk about it?
Well, look, I do think that there are some people you can talk about it with, and those who come from that seek to understand kind of philosophy. And then there are people who you can't talk about it with, who get mean and yell and scream, and it's just not productive or helpful for anyone. So I think you've got to first know who you're talking to. Is it someone who you can have an interesting discussion that is an intellectual, philosophical conversation, or is it someone who's going to get highly emotional and aggressive and mean? So I think that that's the first thing, kind of screening who you have the conversations with. And then I think that there are some families that shouldn't be talking politics. Typically we say don't talk politics or religion, at these kind of events, and don't drink too much. Drinking makes people say and do things, or smoking weed when your inhibitions are down. Don't show up at the family dinner for the holidays wasted or even tipsy, because you need to have that super ego in place to kind of be able to say oh, maybe I shouldn't say that, or maybe that's not productive, or maybe I should sit this one out. So I think being able to go in clear-headed with good boundaries and to be able to know when it's time to excuse yourself or say like, hey, you know what, this doesn't seem productive. Let's talk about something else.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
And what
Not
if
asking
they
for a friend.
don't?
Yeah.
But then you excuse yourself. If things
Yeah.
are getting out of hand and people are getting aggressive and hostile and angry, then you say, you know what, if you guys aren't up for changing the subject, then I'm going to head home. Like, I don't want to have a high conflict dinner. Like, I really want to have a peaceful, wonderful, loving dinner. And if we can't do that, then, let's try again next year.
Okay.
Okay.
Noted.
Yeah.
Dr. Jenn has given you permission to leave. A prescription, if you will.
That's true.
Yeah. It's
And look,
medical
for
advice.
Some families, for some people, you shouldn't be there to begin with. Like, there are some people who go in knowing
Yeah.
this is going to be hostile. This is going to be negative. And for those people, maybe you want to rethink your holidays. Maybe instead you partake in a brunch on another day, but you don't do Thanksgiving or you don't do Christmas dinner or whatever it is that your family does if it goes hours and hours and people are drinking and behaving badly.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for all that. Until next time, where can people find you?
You can find me on social media at Dr. Jenn Man, 2 N's on Jenn, 2 N's on Man.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Instructors in the news.
Good news for fans of Jon Hosking. I was just told I'm supposed to say Hosky.
Well, they all call him Hosky.
I don't feel like I know him well enough to do that.
That's his nickname.
It
It's
feels-
Hosky.
It feels overly informal.
I don't think so, because his signature classes are called Club Hosky.
Well, I think we all know I don't get into the cool clubs.
Okay, that's true. Neither do I.
You didn't have to agree
I
quite so readily.
Well, I
But-
only agreed because I agree for myself as well.
But good news, if you are a fan,
Yes.
he's coming to PSNY.
He is. So if you were lucky enough to sign up for a class on Valentine's Day, you might be seeing him a class there. He is teaching an interval run on Valentine's Day, and very exciting, he is taking Matt Wilper's cycling class on February 14th, and he has a big milestone to celebrate.
So bring him a flower.
Yeah.
Because it's Valentine's Day.
And you'll probably get a picture with him, even if you take a class with Matt and, not his running class.
He seems like the sort.
He does.
Yeah.
We got to meet him briefly
Yeah,
in
he's very
London.
nice.
Very nice guy.
Robin Arzón has confirmed that she has an upcoming cookbook.
Yes, she mentioned it while she was on the Hurdle podcast. We talked about this last week, and I can't remember if it was on the main or the bonus, but one of our listeners was on it. Like, hey, I got confirmation. Listen to the Hurdle podcast, and January 1st, Robin Arzón confirmed, and it is going to be coming out soon. It's going to be I say soon. It's going to be coming out in 2026.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know that I'd call that soon.
Soon for a book release.
Yeah.
That's really not soon in the world we live in, but in book time, that's soon.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joslyn Thompson Rule has launched season 2 of her podcast. Did you know there was a season 1?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Did we? Okay.
Yes, it's called Listen Loudly.
Okay.
And she talks about all kinds of different topics. She brings in amazing guests, including several Peloton instructors. And she talks about all kinds of different topics that are important to her. And it gets deep, like it's a deep conversation. She does a really good job of moving the conversation and doing a good job of interviewing. Not everybody can do that.
No.
And not everybody can just have a conversation off the cuff, and she does both very well. So it's a great podcast. Highly recommend to listen.
So I was on her website when I was digging around, and I noticed that she had a podcast in 2018.
She did.
A different one.
It is this podcast, though. She it's the same type of podcast. She
Right.
repurposed it.
Okay.
So like she went on a sabbatical for a long time from the podcast because she got hired at Peloton
Right.
and Life and yada yada, and she decided it was finally time to bring it
Gotcha.
back. So last year she had it out for several episodes, and then it was supposed to come back, I think, in the fall, and then life happened again. So now it's finally here.
Susie Chan and Jeffrey McEachern are going to help you if you're gearing up for the London Marathon.
Yeah, they're going to be doing a bunch of live Q&A for the London Marathon, and of course, regardless of what marathon you're training for, you're going to get a lot of information out of that.
That seems sensible.
They both refer to each other as their work spouse. And so, and they're both just really lovely, fun people. You talked to Jeffrey. We talked to him a long time when he was in New York. Just a super nice guy. And Susie's super nice. And so the two of them together just talking about running sounds just delightful. Just delightful.
We have another Capital One partnership.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we already had some of these.
Yeah, because Today we were like, Capital One Cafe.
That's right.
What is that? Well, now you can see Jess King there as well.
So she'll be at the cafes too. She's like repping the cafes, or I didn't even look at this. Somebody sent it and I just pasted.
Yeah, like based on the Instagram post, she was at a Capital One cafe. She's like holding coffee or something in the picture if you're watching on the YouTubes.
Okay.
And so I assume it's more like Capital One cafe pushing.
That makes perfect sense. I didn't even make the connection that she was holding a cup of coffee. Like I just wasn't. I got nothing. Sorry.
Normally you're so quick to spot coffee.
That's true. I was like, well, I can't have that coffee. So there's no point in me being excited about it.
Kristen McGee is teaching a yoga certification program if you're looking to learn how to teach it.
Yeah, I went to the information session about this and it's really cool. So it's taking place in April and May. It's going to be over 8 weekends. And I know you're thinking, oh, well, I can't go be in person. That's the beauty of it. They're offering virtual and in person. Now, Kristen moved to Idaho when she left Peloton. So she is in a different time zone now, but she's still teaching yoga. She's still doing a lot with yoga. And she is going to be able to help you get a 200-hour teaching certificate for this.
Yeah, this is no joke. I mean, it's a lengthy course.
It is. Like I said, it's over 8 different weekends. And part of the program is like a private mentoring session with Kristen. And then there's also there's all kinds of stuff that you get to learn about meditation, and they do, I'm going to mess it up, some kind of reading that they do, which I didn't know anything about. So
right.
I don't know what that means, but it's really in depth and it sounds very, very cool. It's hosted by the yoga studio in Idaho where Kristen lives, and it's called True North Yoga. But if you are interested in this, all you got to do is reach out to Kristen through her DMs on Instagram. If for some reason you don't know how to do that, just email me and I'll help you. That's clipoutcrystal@gmail.com. But she will be happy. Now the classes again start in April, so there's some time.
Yeah.
And I know that there is another information session next week. So if you are interested, you still have time to sign up for that information session.
And we will have more information about that coming up in the not too distant future.
We sure will.
Peloton Artist Collaborations.
The latest artist series features Jelly Roll.
It sure does. Yeah. And we saw him not too long ago on Saturday Night Live. I had never heard a song by him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, never. I enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed it. When I hear the word Jelly Roll, I have no idea what to expect.
Right.
So I didn't know what I was getting into.
I expect like an old time, like ragtime piano when I hear Jelly Roll.
I could totally see that.
I don't know why.
My brain just goes question mark.
or like a 1920s era blues guitarist.
I could totally see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's neither of those, but he does have a very soulful voice and quite a country slant.
Yeah.
But I dig it. Anyway, so I don't know very much of his songs, but I know there's a lot of people who do.
He's
and
very, very popular.
I'm sure this will be a very popular artist series.
Other connected fitness.
So Tonal is also doing some nice things for people affected by the LA fires. Some would say nicer. I mean, how could you not?
You can, yeah. It's, listen. It is what it is.
Yeah.
This is amazing what Tonal is doing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is their message. Our hearts go out to the Los Angeles members who have been affected by the devastating wildfires. We hope you and your loved ones are safe. The Tonal community is here to support you through this difficult time. We want you to know that replacing your Tonal shouldn't have to be an additional burden. If you've personally been affected by this tragedy, please contact our care team when you're ready, and we'll be happy to offer you a full replacement at no cost to you. In the meantime, please reach out and we can pause your membership. Amazing.
That is awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Tonal, freaking well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Now, I also get that there's a lot fewer Tonals out in the wild than
Absolutely.
there are Pelotons. And I think this also kind of maybe feeds into the idea that they're phasing out that Tonal.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I also think that if Peloton is, and that's a big if, because we don't know, phasing out their regular bike, there's stuff they could do. And, you know, I mean, there are people that are just trying to organize Peloton, giving them app membership for free right now. And like that at the moment, I'm not saying it won't happen, but at the moment, complete no-go.
Yeah.
It's a very different company than it was.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. They're trying to make a profit, and that's goal one. So good job, Tonal.
Yes, absolutely.
Past guest update.
You might remember a while back we had Kim Holderness on the show. Episode 197 for those of you keeping score at home.
Holy cow, we're almost to 400. So she was over 200 episodes ago.
Yeah.
Or right at 200.
Right at.
Holy cow. That does not seem that long
It
ago.
does not. But the Holderness family, you've probably seen their videos.
They're funny as hell.
Yeah.
I love them.
They have a new Wicked parody out.
They do.
And there's a Peloton reference within their Wicked video.
It is, and it's brilliant, and it holds, and it's great.
Yeah, but it's to the tune of Defying Gravity, but it's about January and getting back to reality from a diet and exercise standpoint.
Yes. And for those of you ladies who are on the menopausal or perimenopausal side, they also have a new video out Kim puts out episodes all the time or little videos out about this, but her newest one does not mention Peloton, but it's just her talking to a friend and cannot remember anything. Like they're like, remember that time we had lunch at the place? You know, what was it? You know, it's like that the whole conversation. And yes, I feel that so hard.
And I feel that for you.
I know. Remember when I used to remember things?
Like my name?
That was nice.
Yeah.
I know your name. Stop it.
Okay, what is it?
Tom.
Okay. They'll never know how much editing had to be done there.
That is not nice.
Edited out all the other names.
No.
They're
that's
like,
not true.
You're sitting there rattling a Herschel?
Oh my God.
Is that it?
I did not do that. Stop it.
They'll never know. They'll never know for sure.
They will, though. They will.
New content.
It is time to take a look at the TCO Top 5. You tell us your favorite classes of the week, and then we tell them back to you.
Yes, we do.
Something like that. Number 1, your favorite core class.
Okay, so Rebecca Kennedy is on the list twice this week, and this is the first one.
So greedy.
No, you know what it is? It is the year of Rebecca. She is on a freaking roll with strength. People are loving her classes. Like every week I get more and more. Like people are telling me how much they're loving her classes. She's really come into her own on this. So there was a 15-minute core strength class that was taught or posted back on November 26th, and people love it. So Melissa Vincefora, she nominated this class, and she said that she really loved it because Rebecca used a towel as equipment to add resistance to the moves. And she said that it was amazing at how much just a towel could change each of these exercises.
Which means Peloton will now start selling a resistance towel for $79.95.
They do have towels for sale on their website, but they're not considered resistance towels.
They will be now. They'll be the same towels, but you want a towel?
You want a resistance towel?
It's $17.50. Oh, a resistance towel? $79.95. Number 2, your favorite chest and back strength class.
Okay, so this was taught by Rad Lopez on December 5th. And Nikki Smith actually recommended this class. She said that she loved that Rad does an excellent job of categorizing all of his strength classes. And this one focused on volume. So it was high reps, short rest periods. I agree with her. I really like the way Rad breaks down. Like he's like, this is for hypertrophy. This is for endurance. Like he's excellent at his categorization.
Number 3, your favorite yoga class.
Okay, so Elizabeth Schlossberg, Minute to Spin It, that's her leaderboard name. She recommended this class. It was taught by Dennis. It was a 20-minute yin yoga class from November 12th. And she said, this is in the Power Zone Challenge yoga pairings this week, but she does it all the time. It feels amazing. And we also have benefits linked in this particular article so that you can get all the benefits of yin yoga classes as well.
Number 4, your favorite full body strength class.
Rebecca is back. This was a class she taught on January 12th, and it's a 30-minute full body strength. Mary Hambert Abbott's favorite class this week was this one. And Mary said that she loved this class because it was full of imams. That's a reason for me to hate it personally. This class had two 12-minute EMOMs, consisting of 3 basic exercises, all done 4 times through. That sounds terrible.
Yes, it does.
I just like a certain number, do it, however long it takes, move on. Like, I don't.
And finally, some classes are so difficult, you dare not stack them. We call them unstackables. Your favorite unstackable run.
Tammy Armstrong is back, and she dug deep in the archives. We are going back to June 24th of 2020.
We have to ask the question, though, Tammy Armstrong. What the hell is wrong with you? Who goes back to 2020?
Well,
that's insane.
She 2 times in a row. The last class we did from 2020 was also from Tammy.
Oh my goodness, Tammy.
So she really likes going back there. But she said that this 30-minute new tracks run with Olivia Amato from home is worth going back for. It's a run from home class. And people might remember back when we could see the inside of instructors' apartments. Because 2020 was wild.
It was crazy.
And also, Tina mentioned when she wrote this article that you should check out Olivia's wall of shoes, which absolutely is worth checking out when you take this class. Tammy said that she's a slow runner, but she managed to chase and beat her PR on this run with Olivia's coaching. She was blown away that Olivia also managed to braid her ponytail mid-run. That is amazing.
Logan Aldridge has a new program on the Strength Plus app.
He does, yeah. So the Strength Plus app, for people listening, in case you don't know, because you haven't been paying attention, there's a lot of them. It's brand new.
Right.
So it's a separate app, completely separate from everything else. And this is Logan's first strength program on the app. And it's all with barbells. I'm super excited about this one because Logan is a beast with the barbells. Like, I mean, he makes lifting with one arm look so freaking easy.
Like,
and
I just have to see the picture here, but it's just like, whoa. Yeah.
How do you do that, man? Yeah, he's incredible. So any opportunity to take a lifting class with Logan where he is showing me how amazing he is, and I can only hope to be that someday, I'm all about. So check out that new strength program. What is the name of it? I can't find the picture on here. It's gone. So I found it. I'm blind.
It's called Dynamic Strength.
It's called Dynamic Strength.
You're welcome.
And it's 3 times a week for 2 weeks, 45 to 60 minutes.
If you're wondering about yoga plus Pilates, wonder no more. Helper B Elizabeth has a full article over at theclipout.com that explains it all to you.
Again, we talked about this last week, but Elizabeth has been on a roll writing these articles lately.
She's so good at explaining things, she's legally changing her name to Clarissa.
Because she explains it all?
Yeah.
I got it. Okay, so these Yoga plus Pilates class that are taught by Anna Greenberg, they're amazing. But what's great about this article is Elizabeth breaks down a little bit of history from yoga and Pilates, how they got combined, and why it's so effective.
I picture 2 people walking down the street around the corner, and they bump into each other, and then one person's like, you got yoga in my Pilates, and then the other person's like, you got Pilates in my yoga.
Yep.
It's like that?
It was totally like that.
We don't even need Elizabeth anymore.
You totally need Elizabeth.
I'm Clarissa now.
For God's sakes, read the article.
Benny Adami and Milo Wedekind are leading a retro journey for the German users. Let's just hope they skip the 1940s.
Oh, I know, right? I think this is a music retro journey.
Okay.
Because based on the images, it looks like they're celebrating like different bands and
everything's
stuff.
in color.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's like 80s on.
I don't know. I don't know what year it starts because it looks like some punk in there, but I don't know when punk started in Germany.
Punk would be the 70s.
But I didn't know if it like landed in the same. Anyway, point being, I think this is a really cool idea and I'm really excited about it because I don't feel like Germany gets a lot of attention for like brand new series and stuff that they do. And they've been doing a lot more of them lately. And I hope this one goes really well.
Eric Yeager is celebrating 5 years with Peloton.
Isn't that cool?
Where does the time go? They grow up so fast.
They do. They do. I can still remember the day I got a little inbox Look who's following Peloton. Could be a new instructor.
I do remember that now you say that.
Yeah.
But they are celebrating that with a new Eric Yeager Greatest Hits collection.
I love that they've started doing these new
Yes.
Greatest Hit collections. This one starts off with 65 classes, all of Eric's best stuff.
65?
Mm-hmm.
That's like a box set.
Well, I mean, when you teach like 1,000 classes,
No, I was just thinking
week,
like when you used to get the Greatest Hits CDs, they were like, you had the artist that had like one CD.
but they
And then
don't
you had
write that many songs comparatively, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but then you would have the other artists that would get like a double CD.
Yeah.
And then you'd have the artists that would come out with like the box sets.
The anthology.
Yes.
Well, but you got to remember they teach so many classes at
For
a
sure.
time.
Yeah,
It's a little different.
it is a little different.
Okay.
There is a new sleep meditation program. How can you meditate if you're asleep?
Well, you meditate to go to sleep.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the
that
idea.
makes more sense.
So the cool part about this is there are 3 new programs because it's one in German, one in English, and one in Spanish.
Oh.
7 days to sleep better.
Oh,
And-
yeah, that takes way too long. I don't want to be awake for 7 days. I don't think they've thought this through.
Oh, you're so...
It sounds dangerous, to be honest.
You don't have to stay awake for 7 days. You just take 7 separate classes at the end of each day.
Oh,
Yeah. A lot more reasonable, eh?
yeah. There's a lot of things they're like leaving off the table here
Is it?
with the way they're naming it.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
we also have a Push Your Pace program.
Yeah. Now, this doesn't start until the 17th.
So the
So
day this comes out.
yes.
Yes.
But it is, I'm really excited about this. It's 4 weeks long, and you're going to get 3 different classes each week from Adrian, Camila, Kirsten, Joslyn, and Matt. And it is all about making your fastest mile ever. It's targeted speed workouts that improve your pace. So thank you for finally doing this, Peloton. I've only been asking since you started the tread. I'm very excited. Seriously.
And the only song they will be using for the entire program is Matchbox 20's Push.
Push.
That's it.
That's
Just
all.
that song over and over again. They
Oh my God. I would like rip my eyeballs out. Actually, my ears. That'd be a lot better.
Do you remember when there was a guy locally that did
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
he did
The same song, 24 hours straight.
he did well, it wasn't 24 hours. He did a show at a local bar where all he did was play Smooth over and over and over again. He played it like 12 times in a row. It was just an evening of Smooth, not different arrangements, nothing.
That's not the one I thought it was.
He
I
just-
thought you were talking about the time the guy played on the radio station the same song for
Oh.
and I don't even remember
Yeah.
why he did it, but it was 24 hours of it.
Yeah.
But no, I don't remember that. What radio station was that?
No, it wasn't. It was a live show.
Here in St. Louis?
Yeah, he did a show as band, and they just play. It was called An Evening of Smooth, and they just played the song "Smooth."
I mean, it is a great
It is
song.
a great song by Santana and Rob Thomas over and over again for the entire show.
Wow. I'm trying to think if I'd hate that or love it. I could see it going either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a new split program coming on January 25th, so you have plenty of time to get your splits ready.
This is the first time we have had a split plus hiking program. So it's only been a little bit of time since they started releasing these split plus programs. So just to remind people, this is where you go and do several workouts, or you do like several lifts off of the machine, but then you finish whatever split plus it is on the machine. In this case, you're going to go to your tread or your tread plus, and it's going to be finishing with a hike. Why do you have that smirk on your face? I feel like you want to say something really shitty.
What? No, me?
Yeah.
No.
It must be really bad. It must be really bad that you won't say it on the air. I'm sure it's something to do with splitting.
You're just making up all sorts of things.
I saw.
and putting it on me.
Okay.
You're thinking awful things and then projecting it on me.
No,
and then
I know
blaming
you.
me.
I know you, mister.
I'm not
We're
said
gonna
a
we're gonna
word.
wrap up this, and you're gonna go, you know what I was gonna say.
That's not like me at all.
It is too. Anyway, so new hiking split plus programs.
And finally, in the content section, Mike Wallace will do a class of 60-minute Pilates.
So actually, it's the second ever 60-minute Pilates class coming up, and it's going to be taught by Mila Lazar. She taught the last 60-minute class as well. And it's interesting. We are wondering within the TCO group if this means that Peloton has data that German members are looking for, specifically them looking for longer Pilates classes. Because it's just kind of strange that it hasn't been done in like Spanish or English.
Right.
Not that I begrudge them.
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder about the data.
That's a fair question.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking, did you ever wonder why Pilates makes you sweat? 60-minute Pilates with Mickey Rooney.
Okay.
Sorry, with Andy Rooney.
Okay.
That's a little humor for the 60-plus crowd out there.
If they're out there.
In case you missed it.
We have a collaboration with Mayfair.
Yeah. So Mayfair Company is like, I don't really know anything about them, but they teamed up with Peloton to do this apparel collection. And that's all I got for you. None of it is my jam. I'm not interested in any of it. Like, I'm not down talking it. I just don't understand anything about it.
Sure.
So I'm just telling you it exists. But they do have a very cool shopping event that is going to be happening, or did happen rather, on January 10th. It was a special shopping event where you could come in and get exciting prizes, and they were celebrating the launch of the collection. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peloton birthdays.
And we have 2 birthdays this week. On January 19th, we have the birthday of one Cliff Dwenger. And then on January 22nd, Ben Aldis.
Well, happy birthday to Cliff and Ben.
Happy birthday. And coming up after this, we have our interview of the week. We're going to talk to Annie Smith, so stick around.
Checking in with the Peloton community.
Joining us today via the magic of ZoomTube is Annie Smith. Hey, Annie, how's it going?
Great, wonderful. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. I always like to start these conversations off by understanding like what your background is with Peloton. When did you originally find Peloton and decide to try it out?
So honestly, I did not find it till after the pandemic. And I tried it at a hotel. And my husband and I did that. We loved it. And so that's when we decided, let's get our own. So we ordered one, it came, and both of us have loved it. We, at the same time, bought a competitor activity, Hydro. And so we do the Hydro side by side with the Peloton a lot of the times, the two of us. But we both do a ton of programs, a lot. The only thing, weirdly, I don't use the run program as much on the Peloton.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. And when you said you got one, you got a bike to start with, right?
We did a bike to start with. I don't have the treadmill. That's kind of was on my wish list, but we moved from a 6,000 square foot house down to like a 3,000. So it was like, well, what do we do with a big, treadmill? And so we didn't do that. So we stuck with the Peloton bicycle, the cycle, and all the other programs that we do.
Okay. That's awesome. Also, completely unrelated, but when we were recording this week, we were talking about Hydro. So since you are a Hydro user, I have to ask this. I noticed that there's been a lot of hubbub about their price increases.
Structure.
And so
the pricing structure, I'm in a Facebook group that's like insane with it. And all the new people that are coming on, you can tell they're just panicked. And I get that too, because we bought them right at the same time as when we bought our Peloton. Yeah, it's a big deal. And I think there's a concern that it's going to continue forward as a platform. And what do we do then? What do we do with this giant long machine in our house then?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a fair question. Do you ever use the Peloton program on your Hydro? Because I see a lot of people that do that.
I don't. We keep talking about we need to transfer it over. My husband and I travel a whole lot. Mm-hmm. And so we keep saying, what day are we going to do it? And then we haven't done it. So I would love to do that. Yeah.
I was just curious.
That would be great.
Yeah. Okay.
They took a whole bunch of their Hydro row instructors over there anyway to Peloton. So I'd be familiar looking at them.
Wait, what do you mean?
At the time that Peloton decided to start doing rowing programs, some of the instructors from Hydro moved over there to help.
Like who?
You're going to ask me that now. I don't remember exactly who. I just remember the hubbub when it happened.
Okay, gotcha. I knew that Alex Kurowski's brother used to work at Hydro, and he was one of the coaches over there. And he got married, and the person he was married to still works at Hydro, as far as I know, but he has left since then.
Yeah, there's been a lot of changing of the guard there. And in fact, I think this week somebody left.
Oh, okay. I can understand why that would make people.
I can't even imagine how expensive that must be to put on those live programs that they do, because they go all over the world.
They do. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, that's always been their big draw at Hydro. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, and so before Peloton, before Hydro, what kind of workouts were you guys doing? Like, were you doing any? Like, were you one of those people that like you've been active your whole life?
I've been active my whole life. I started at 7 years old. I'm 60 now. So at 7 was my first real foray into sports. And I played flag football for another 7 years till I was 14.
Wow.
And I played everything in high school and as a kid. And in college, I went out for soccer. Then I chose a different form of exercise and I quit soccer very quickly. And then I didn't take up, I had 3 kids and I started kind of getting back into my life of being physical with tennis. And then I started running.
Okay.
And so I've been a runner since probably about 40. Since I was 40, I kind of got back into the real exercise world. And I've been running ever since for 20 years. I just took a little sabbatical from running for about a year. My mother passed away and we were moving and it was just a lot of stuff. So I honestly, it's the first time really in 20 years that I haven't like really done a lot of racing or running. And my last race was last year in, I think, May. I was in Leiden, Amsterdam, and I did a 10K there. So right now I'm training for a 10K in Orlando.
In Orlando, is that one of the Disney ones? Or
it is. It's my first Disney race out of all these years I've been running. I've never done a Disney race. And my husband, part of his job is in Orlando. And so we've gone down there, several times. And I was like, I should do one of these. I may regret it. I don't know. But I think it'll be super fun. That's why I picked the 10K. I was like, I don't want to commit either way.
So I want to back up and talk about when you were 7. Because I'm fascinated by the idea of flag football for girls. Like
telling you, I grew up in Aurora, Colorado.
Okay.
And the Aurora Public Schools, that was a big program and it was in the city as citywide. And my team, we were the champions that year, the first year. So that's what got me hooked. I got a little football trophy. And what's amazing to me now is that it's in D1 schools.
Oh.
Women's flag football is a big sport.
I had no idea.
That's great. I had no idea.
We don't follow sports. Like, we're the worst sportsy people ever.
You would think I'm not as sportsy as I sound sometimes, but yeah.
But especially, 53 years ago.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Very progressive. Very progressive.
Yeah, because this is pre-Title IX.
Right.
Right. I always tell people Title IX is a bigger deal than you can only imagine.
For sure it is.
Girls we didn't have to have equal. My mom was a big sport. She played basketball in high school and was a riflery champion. And she, that was a big thing. And my grandmother was a huge supporter when it came around. It's a big deal for a lot of women don't realize, like,
you guys have a lot of badasses in your family. Rifles and flag football.
I know, right? Don't mess with them.
My mother got hurt in basketball, so she took up riflery. She was the Colorado State riflery champion when she was 18 years old.
Oh my God.
And I really never shot a gun in my whole life, really. My parents they weren't hunters or anything like that. That's what she took up back then, in high school.
That's so cool.
But, there is this bias in the world where something like Title IX will pass and then these things change and then they're in place for 50 or 60 years. And people are just like, well, these laws are silly. Of course, we have all these things. And then you take it away and all of a sudden all those things start to disappear.
Yeah.
So
No, it's.
I feel like I grew up in the cusp of, I graduated from high school in 1982. I feel like I grew up on the cusp of girls and women really getting into, like I remember my girlfriends in college. I went to the University of Colorado. I remember my girlfriends in college getting kinesiology degrees, and that was not like a big thing for girls then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stuff like that.
I think that's really cool because I've lived in Missouri my whole life. And like when you talk about any kind of football, that's for the boys, you know, it is very much like Friday Night Lights around here where I grew up.
My roommate in high school, she was the first girl in the state of Colorado to play on a boys football team. That was in 1981, 82.
Wow.
What position did she play? She
was a center.
Wow.
That's a tough spot for a girl. I played center when I was from 7 to 14 as well.
Yeah.
And that's a tough position because you kind of got to be tough because they'll hit you hard.
I was like, that's the one that takes all
they'll hit you hard.
That's the one where they're always sacking you, right? Like you.
Well, you get pushed a lot because you're delivering the ball to the quarterback.
Okay. I know nothing about sports.
Yeah.
So
I only know about it if it is a plot point in a film.
I know.
And then.
But you knew about Sinners. I was like, what TV show was that in?
Longest Yard.
Okay.
I was like, the Burt Reynolds one, not the Adam Sandler, the Burt Reynolds one. But yeah, I was like, Sinner, okay, that's because normally when you see a female on a male football team, they tend to be the kicker. Because
no, she was not. Yeah, well, soccer, honestly, I probably could have done that soccer now, all the kickers in football, they're all soccer related.
Yeah.
Who knew that was going to come down the pike too?
Yeah.
What a great point. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So definitely active. Now, has your husband always been an active person too? So you guys are both.
Yeah, he has too. He was in high school. He was the Colorado State tennis champion in high school.
Wow.
He was a tennis player and he played baseball. And he was a walk-on. So after I met him, my parents made me leave my school because the phone bills were so large. No one else would understand that. They made me go to Texas Tech, and he was a walk-on baseball player at Texas Tech. And then I got a second degree at Tech, and then he graduated with a master's, and then that was history after that. But
wow,
nobody believes when I say, yeah, my parents told me if you have one more $650 phone bill, you will be breaking up with that boy. You get a scholarship and go to his school. That's what I did.
And I'm sure, that's a funny story looking back at it.
Yeah, I'm sure your parents were not amused at the time.
It was probably not very funny. They were just like, who is this guy? Like, this isn't going to be a thing. What are we doing? We're not
How can you stay on the phone that long?
Yeah.
Real easy.
Yeah.
I talk this much now. I talked a lot then too.
It's just so funny because you're right. Like our kids, they'll never understand the worry of a phone bill going over or
not like that.
Not like that. Calling long distance. Like they have they can't even picture
I used to lay in the hall. My roommate, I would take the cord and go all the way down around the corner at my dorm because I didn't want my roommate to hear what I was saying to him. And we'd lay in the hall and talk on the phone. Not that they don't lay in the hall now, but there was a reason we were attached to a cord, you know. And if I called him and he didn't answer, well, I didn't know when I was going to talk to him.
Yeah, just like if you couldn't watch TV that day whenever it was on, they'd never see it again.
You might never see it again.
We didn't have DVRs back then.
God, I'm feeling really old.
Oh, me too. Me too. We had a party line when I was a kid. So
wow. No, they had those. We didn't have one, but my mom and them, I remember them having them for sure.
Well, she grew up in Mayberry.
Basically, that's how antiquated it was. So even though I am younger than you, yes, we still had a party line.
Yeah, some smaller towns did. Some smaller communities did. I'm surprised Colorado didn't do it longer for sure.
That's great. Okay, sorry, we got way off the track there. Have you ever been able to go to the Peloton studios?
I have not.
Okay.
I am kind of surprised at myself on that. I have not. I would love to.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And so now, are you guys still in Colorado? Where do you live now?
I live in Houston, Texas.
Oh, that's right.
Right. Yes.
Too hot. We're doing our best to get out of here if we can and go back to Colorado. But it hasn't happened. So I've been here a long time, 20 years.
That is a long time.
Oh, that is a long time.
Yeah.
You probably got a hat and everything.
I got a hat, and I finally have hit my limit on how hot it is when I run. And that's when I want to try.
I have no idea how you've done it that long. I hate heat. I hate humidity. And I trained for a marathon this summer outside, and it was yucky.
I saw it. I heard that you did that. It was awful. I used to only run on a treadmill for the first 4 years that I was a runner. I pretty much only ran on a treadmill. And now I look at a treadmill and I go, oh, do I have to? Much rather be outside. But on these hot, humid days in the middle of summer, when you're training, that's why I don't do any fall major. I do half marathons, but I try not to do anything in the summer. That's going to be, I start my training a little later because I'm old and I've been doing it a long time. I'm a little better at my training.
Yeah, no, you've got
in the summer too much.
Your body has a lot of conditioning in it. That's like you're ready to go. Do you ever?
I feel that. But
do you ever take the Peloton classes with you? Do you ever try running classes or outdoor classes?
I don't. See, I'm not running. Other things, yes. Anytime I'm out, so my husband and I'll do like the yoga, the meditation, strength training. I've done that. Yes, definitely. But I've never, I'm kind of ashamed to say it. I've never done a single running anything.
See, this is what I say all the time.
It's so
is
true.
That the people who are longtime runners, they look at they look at a Peloton running class and they're like, well, I know how to run.
I don't need that.
What do I need to do that for?
Don't get me wrong. I do know some people that do it fairly regularly and they do like it. And they always have asked me, hey, we should run together on it. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I never end up there. And I don't know why, because I do love all the other things. I love the people that do all the classes, the instructors. I mean, Leanne is just like, oh.
Well, we got to get you to try a run. You got to try a run with like Susie.
I will try a run after
Bex, Susie, Bex. Those are two of my favorites. Mariana is one of my favorites on the tread. So we got to get you to try at least one run.
You're right. You're 100% right. And I always say that. Try something once, then you can say no.
Okay. Sorry. I'll leave you alone.
So, what do you do for a living, if we can ask?
So currently, I'm mostly retired. My husband and I do have a company that we kind of work on together, but he has his own job. But I was, so I have 2 degrees, a degree in music. I was a voice performance major.
Oh, wow.
I was going to be an opera singer. And then I met and married him, and it was going to be hard in some of the cities I was ever going to be in to be in an opera. So I did teach music and do some things there, but then I became a nurse. I went back to school when my parents made me go to Texas Tech. I went back to school and became a nurse. And so I stayed while he got his master's. I became a nurse. And then I was a nurse for a lot of years.
That's
now
awesome.
I'm a little bit more free.
Okay. That's really cool.
I was going to say, what is the career path for an opera singer?
That's a great
obviously
question.
Singing opera, but I would think it's one of those things where that's something that not everyone gets to do. That seems like there are limited paid positions in the world of opera
back then
singers.
there definitely were. Funding for these things is far harder, and you've got to be really good.
Yeah.
Back then, you could get in with a company, and most companies would have different groups within the company that you could sing with. If you weren't doing the major production, like nowadays here in the city of Houston, they do many productions at the same time. It's no longer and I played the violin most of my life. So symphony too, they do all these like small things because they got to make some money, and they got to pay the musicians, and musicians don't make anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard. But yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to get into that level. And then the other thing, I didn't plug this part, but when I was 49, I went back to school and I became a level 2 sommelier.
Wow.
And I did that at the University of Houston. They have a program. The Marriott School has the restaurant program there. And I did through the international sommelier program. And all I did with that, not all, but I used to prepare some wine menus privately for people at home to pair up with foods. I've worked with one gentleman on his menu here in a restaurant. So
that's so cool.
That's what I used.
How many levels are there?
I was just going to ask that.
So within the International Sommelier Program, not the Masters, that's a different program, which I would love to have been in, but also my brain at 49 wasn't doing this. But those are 2 really good programs. There's a level 3. And so that's pretty much the top level 3. They did invite me back, but at the time in my life, I was just like, man, it's a lot of training, a lot of drinking, a lot of training,
A lot of spitting.
Yeah.
a lot of memory making. Yeah, it's hard. You do all levels of alcohol. You do everything, not just, you do spirits, you do wine, you do beer, you do all of it.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
I know we had, I believe, Michelle on, it was a while back, and she was going through the training to become a sommelier, and she was explaining some of it, and I was like, whoa. And she was like into all the nuances and the things that, like, it's so nuanced with every little thing. I definitely do not have a palate.
I don't, for sure.
Women do. Women have some of the best palates, and for years and years and years, it's always been men that dominated the field. But women have a great palate.
Interesting.
We have great noses, great palates.
Well, I think I don't use mine.
I hate wine, so that would be a problem.
You're out automatically.
Do they have sommeliers for like soda?
Tom would be a great.
Oh, this would be a wonderful blend with a Coke Zero. Like that's what I'd be good at.
That's our culture.
Yeah.
So, what is your leaderboard name?
Annie's Fanny, same as my everywhere. So Annie. So when I was growing up, my brother nicknamed me Annie's Fanny or Annie Fanny. So that's what
brothers do.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
Well, my name was Ann and his name was Andy. Raggedy Ann and Andy.
I was going to say Raggedy Ann and Andy. Yeah.
Okay.
And I could have done Raggedy Ann, but I said, nah, I don't want to be associated with the word raggedy. But yeah, so it's Annie's Fanny.
Well, it's been so long since Raggedy Ann and Andy have been in the pop culture zeitgeist.
True.
Oh, I mean, anybody under probably like 45 would have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There was a TikTok though that went around recently that was this woman who her name was Ann, and she did a whole bit on it, and it was really big. So I think it made a comeback many times. The doll is still out there, but my brother and I had more than our fair share. Everyone thought it was the funniest gift to give us each.
I
bet.
Oh my word.
Yeah.
Another Raggedy Ann.
Yeah.
They were all so clever.
And then every once in a while you get like a little orphan Annie doll.
Yeah, they never call me that, thank God. But I don't know which is worse.
Yeah.
Raggedy Ann.
The Conjuring movies.
Oh yeah.
So they had
That's
that
true.
spinoff Annabelle, which is about a possessed doll, right?
Yeah.
So in real life, now first off, none of that's real, but they claim that it's real. In real life, the possessed doll was in fact a Raggedy Ann doll, but they couldn't get the rights to it. All right, because they did not want to. Right,
Can't blame them.
They're like, hey, we sell 3 of these dolls a year. We don't want to ruin we don't want to ruin our brand by associating it with a multi-billion-dollar franchise. So they switched it to Annabelle, but in fact, if you go down the rabbit hole on the Warrens, the possessed doll in question is Raggedy Ann. So.
Huh. Well, I have a granddaughter named Annabeth, and my son and his wife are like, it's not Annabelle. It's not
Annabelle. That's hilarious.
That's funny. So, do you have a preferred instructor?
I love Leanne for sure. Leanne Hainsby Aldis, rather. I love her. And I really miss Kendall. Like Kendall was the one who really got me. She had a way of bringing you through the class from start to finish that was, I won't say gradual, but your level of excitement and your level of physical workout was, to me, always just perfect. Suited me really well. Leanne, I just love her. I love her personality. I like to watch her and listen to all the music that she picks out, because she picks a lot of times things that I really love from my generation. And she's just great. She's just great. Her personality, everything about her. I think she's wonderful. I do like Cody. I always like to say I'm kind of like the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I like Lee. Not that they're any of those.
I was
things.
like, which is which?
I know. I was
Now
like,
I
I'm not guessing.
Don't guess.
I'll guess.
Yeah, I love Cody. I love Leanne, and I loved Kendall. Those were like my go-tos whenever certain days you want a Cody yelling in your ear and saying the things that his sarcasm. You like it.
He definitely has a vibe that he brings.
He's got a sassy vibe for sure.
And do you have any advice for people just now entering the world of Peloton?
I do. Like I always, because I still am under the hashtag newbie because I don't feel like I've been doing it forever. But
Sure.
I do think that one, like first and foremost, always take the stretching class after, hopefully before as well. But I think mixing it up is what helps with the longevity of anything like that. So take one of the lives, take a dedicated class. I think I've tried almost every instructor once, or I hope I have. And then I really like the destination rides for sure. So, and then take everything you can, except for running. I have never done that one. But all the other things too, because I think they're wonderful. I really do.
Her advice is don't run.
I know, that's her advice. Don't run.
Don't run.
Don't run.
I know people that will hear this are going to be like, yeah, we've been trying forever.
I understand.
It's not like I'm going, no way, but it just hasn't happened.
Well, we got to make it happen.
I've had coaches over the years. I've had pretty steady people in my life that are helping me along. And I do feel sometimes like, what do I need? But you always need inspiration. You do.
Well, it's just nice to have somebody
that's
along
what I would
with
tell
you.
somebody new is definitely do the stretching afterwards, especially when you're new. You do not even realize where it's going to hurt after you do that.
Very good advice.
So I have one final question.
Okay.
As a trained and degreed opera singer,
Yes.
do you ever go to like karaoke nights and just hustle people?
No, I never hustle people because here's the thing about singing. You do have to keep at it, just like you're playing the violin. You do have to keep at it to keep your voice in practice. But I do know like a lot about music in general. So I do like to go to karaoke. I do like to do it. But I don't think I always blow people away. Plus, the opera sound is very different than what you do in karaoke.
That's true.
That is true.
You end up sounding really different. And sometimes you're like, I really can sing. I can't.
You're like, here's a video of me from 15 years ago.
Because you're doing an aria versus, singing something pop. So
Yeah. No, I totally
Super
get that because opera, I can't understand what they're saying. Like even if it was in English, because I do realize they're not
Yeah, I was
in
like,
English.
Largely Italian, unless you're seeing Porgy and Bess.
But even
all the love language.
Exactly.
German even is considered sort of.
But there's like something like in my ear, and this is across all music. This is not subject to any one thing. There are certain pitches when I hear them, I literally cannot hear what people are saying. And so an opera is like it hits those pitches for me.
Sure. Yes,
and because of that, I just have no appreciation for, like, I can't sit there and go, that's beautiful. And it's frustrating.
Well, we both had that problem with Ariana Grande and Wicked.
Yes.
Like, she sings.
And objectively, that's beautiful. Like, objectively, that is beautiful singing. And I know that, but I cannot hear her.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy.
No, that's true. And no, it's absolutely true. And one of the things you're taught throughout your training is how to project, how to enunciate, and how to model certain words with your mouth so that they are kind of understandable or heard. But I can tell you a funny story. My maiden name is Burnett, Burnett. I used to always say, they'd say, what's your name? I'd say Ann Burnett. So through college, a whole group of people thought my name was Amber Net. And so I still, from my friends that like to mess with me, they'll send me stuff that says Amber Net. And forever people said my name was, they go, oh, there's Amber. And I'm like, I'm Amber. So I used to swallow my sounds, and I'm very nasal sometimes. So it's difficult for sure. Yeah.
Wow.
No, it's true. People can't appreciate all that sometimes.
I find it frustrating that I can't.
Yeah.
Like, I do wish that I could.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Because it's a fun genre to be involved with, for sure.
Yeah. Well, and thank you, or Amber, if you prefer. thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. Before we let you go, remind everybody where they can find you in all the places.
Well, anywhere I am on a platform, and I'm less and less, I've kind of drawn down to Instagram. I'm Annie's Fanny. And so that's where you'll find me. I've been there since like 2013 and that's where I'll be. Awesome. And I'll be racing around. You can always look me up on any kind of a race place.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
It was a lot of fun.
You too.
So I guess that brings this episode to a close. Until next time, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/CrystalDO'Keefe. And they can also find me on all the socials and the Peloton leaderboard at ClipOutCrystal.
And you can find me on Blue Sky and Threads at Tom O'Keefe Jr. or on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom O'Keefe. You can find the show online at facebook.com/The Clip Out. While you're there, like the page, join the group, and if you just can't get enough of us, come on over to Patreon. We've got even more for you.
We do.
That's it for this one. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep pedaling
and running
and rowing.
Bye.
Clip in, set yourself